this week is a little bit of an interesting one. We've gone a little bit back in time. I think this car that I'm in this week is the bargain of the century. And just bear with me on that, because this is an Audi C7 RS6 Avant. Now, the reason I think this is the bargain of the century is because this car has a 4-litre TFSI engine with 605 horsepower, 750 Newton meters of torque. And I think, personally, I'm not going to say it's better than the new one, but it certainly does put up a good fight and is still a hell of a tool. Now, like with all Audis, you've got the drive select. Let's whack it into dynamic mode and I'll just get a load of this. This thing is genuinely still as fast as anything I can think of, really. 0 to 60, 3.7 seconds. It just, to me, feels more alive in your hands than the new one. The new one, I said in the new one review that I did quite a while ago now, about a year ago, I said that I think that car, if you put a Bentley badge on it, you could genuinely blindfold me, put me in it, I would believe you that was the new Bentley estate. This car, there's something a little bit more raw about it, and maybe that's because it's a little bit less refined, it's a little bit more bumpy, the ride, it feels more sporty to me, especially in dynamic mode. And also the exhaust, you get the bangs and pops on the overrun, on the downshifts. It just sounds aggressive. It looks fantastic. The presence on the road of this car is just insane. It's so cool. Getting from point A to point B, I am not sure there is a better, faster car than an Audi RS6. I genuinely don't think there is. In the wet, in the snow, when there's leaves on the road, it's just an absolute monster all year round. It's got loads of space in the back for your kids. It's got space in the boot for your dogs. You can do all day, every day driving in this. You could jump in this, stick some skis on the roof and head off down to the Alps, and it would be the perfect companion. Can you hear that? What a weapon. I'm sold. I think it's completely ridiculous how good this is as an everyday proposition, and also as something that you can really grab by the scruff of the neck and really give some stick. Obviously this one, compared to the new one, interior wise, it's all getting a little bit older now. If you've been in a new Audi recently with their whole sort of Art Deco-y sort of shapes and cool, like, it's like being in a nouveau riche house. If you've been in one of those, then yeah, you're not gonna like this as much. But it's still, don't get me wrong, it's still very Audi. The infotainment system still works very well. It's all very good. The dials aren't digital, they're all analog. There's a little digital display in the middle there, which is still perfectly adequate, and genuinely is telling me the one problem with this car. It's telling me the one problem that I have with it, that I would really struggle with. The fuel consumption is outrageous. You can genuinely watch the fuel disappear out of this car. If you're giving it stick, if you've got a heavy right foot, then you're going to be looking at mid-teens. If you're very, very gentle with it, you're going to be looking at 22, 23, maybe 24 on a really long run. Maybe, if you're lucky. It's pretty thirsty. That's the only problem I have with it. But if you're spending the sort of money on these sort of cars that you will be, then who cares about the fuel prices? I know that that's a terrible thing to say at the moment because obviously we're in a fuel crisis in the UK, but these, these are going to be out. These are a dying breed. These are going to be an outgoing thing of big V8s with big petrol performance. This 7-speed double clutch gearbox as well is just fantastic. It's not a difficult car to drive. Although it has the unbelievably eye-watering performance that it does, it feels like it's always looking after you, and always, with any RS product, any of these four-wheel drive RS products, this one's on Pirelli P0s, they're sticky as hell, the front end feels fantastic. There's always been a little bit of a problem with RS products for me. I've always thought that when you put them in dynamic mode, it feels like the steering doesn't come off center properly. This one has been really nicely judged and actually feels quite, lovely and hydraulic, and I don't want to use the word feel because it doesn't have an enormous amount of feel, but you know where the front end is at all times. The pedal feel fine, the brakes are absolutely mega and mighty strong. The thing with this car is the one I tested, again, if you haven't seen that film, go and watch it, but the one I tested was £133,000 as tested. This one is an 18 plate. It's done 36,000 miles, so it's barely run in, and it was 60 grand. It's £70,000 less for a car that, to me, feels just as fast as the new one. Revs all the way to 7. You don't really need to rev it all the way to 7 because that feels a little bit ridiculous. My word, it is just so fast. It's a fantastic piece of kit. Fantastic. And I think, as I say, bargain of the century. Oh God, I'm in love with this car. It's so good. The down changes. It sounds fantastic. And that's where the new one is missing a little bit. Wow. Wow. It feels every bit as fast as the numbers say. It genuinely does. It's an impressive piece of kit. And if you can put up with the fact of having last generation, sort of like having last year's clothing, isn't it, or something, I suppose? Who cares? If you're having last generation interior with the exterior looks that I still think look fantastic. This comes up behind you and it is a proper get out of my way car, isn't it? And I think if you are in the marketplace for something and don't mind about the fuel consumption, or have a second car, an electric car or something like that, it's the sort of car that you would have a second car. If you were going to have an electric car or something else that maybe alleviated the fact that this has, this is going to attack your wallet every time you go anywhere near the throttle, I think if you do that, this has got to be the best get everything done car out there, hasn't it? Comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think is better than a C7 RS6. Value for money, power, performance. I genuinely can't think of anything else that I'd sooner have. Can you? Comment below. And subscribe and like and ring the bell and all that kind of stuff. See you in the next one.